Welcome to the summary of the two short stories, His First Flight, and The Black Aeroplane.
Summary of the short story, His First Flight, by Liam O'Flaherty. Once upon a time, there was a young seagull who felt left out. His siblings had already learned to fly, but he was too scared to join them. The thought of flying over the vast sea terrified him, and he doubted if his wings could carry him. His parents scolded and threatened him, but he couldn't gather the courage to take that daring plunge. For a whole day, he stayed alone on his ledge while his family flew around, perfecting their flying skills and catching fish. His hunger grew, and he watched enviously as his family teased him from a distance. The sun beat down on his ledge, and he felt the heat, having not eaten since the night before. Feeling desperate, he tried a trick to get attention. He stood on one leg, closed his eyes, and pretended to fall asleep. His family paid him no mind except for his mother, who stood on a high hump, occasionally tearing at a piece of fish. The sight of the food made the young seagull cry out for a share, but his mother mocked him. Eventually, she picked up a piece of fish and flew towards him. Excitedly, he leaned out to reach it, but to his surprise, she stopped just out of reach. Hungry and frustrated, he dived towards the fish with a loud scream, falling outward and downward into space. Panic gripped him, but then, miraculously, his wings spread out, and he soared gradually downward and outward. The fear disappeared, replaced by the exhilaration of flying. He felt a bit dizzy but flapped his wings and soared upwards. His family cheered him on, and he joined them in the skies, forgetting that he was once afraid to fly. Together, they dove, soared, and curved in the air. As he flew over the sea, he saw the vast green expanse below. Curious and amused, he cawed. His family, already landed on the green sea, called to him. Excited, he tried to land, but his tired and hungry state made it challenging. His legs sank into the green sea, causing him to panic. However, he realized he was floating on it, and his family surrounded him, praising his first successful flight, offering him scraps of dogfish. In the end, the young seagull had overcome his fear, learned to fly, and experienced the joy of soaring through the sky, all while earning the admiration of his family. Questions and answers from thinking about the text section of the short story. Question 1. Why was the young seagull afraid to fly? Do you think all young birds are afraid to make their first flight, or are some birds more timid than others? Do you think a human baby also finds it a challenge to take its first steps? Answer. The young seagull was afraid to fly because he feared his wings wouldn't support him, and the height seemed daunting. Not all young birds are equally timid, some may be more cautious. Similarly, human babies may find taking their first steps challenging. Question 2. The sight of the food maddened him. What does this suggest? What compelled the young seagull to finally fly? Answer. The sight of the food maddened him suggests hunger drove the young seagull to overcome fear and fly. The prospect of obtaining food compelled him to take the plunge. Question 3. They were beckoning to him, calling shrilly. Why did the seagull's father and mother threaten him and cajole him to fly? Answer. The seagull's parents threatened and cajoled him to fly because they wanted him to learn essential survival skills, like catching fish. Their actions were motivated by concern for his well-being. Question 4. Have you ever had a similar experience, where your parents encouraged you to do something that you were too scared to try? Discuss this in pairs or groups. Answer. Yes, my parents introduced me to skating during last summer vacations. I was reluctant to take that as a summer vacation activity, fearing I would fracture my limbs. But, by the end of the vacations, I picked up skating like as a fish would take to waters. Question 5. In the case of a bird flying, it seems a natural act, and a foregone conclusion that it should succeed. In the examples you have given in answer to the previous question, was your success guaranteed, or was it important for you to try, regardless of a possibility of failure? Answer. Success wasn't guaranteed in my examples, trying was important regardless of potential failure. Similarly, in the bird's case, flying was a natural act, but the young seagull had to attempt it to succeed. Summary of the short story, The Black Aeroplane, by Frederick Forsyth. The story is about a pilot flying his old Dakota aeroplane from France to England. It's nighttime, and the sky is clear with the moon and stars. The pilot enjoys the solitude and views from high above the sleeping countryside, dreaming of reuniting with his family after a holiday. As he approaches England, he contacts Paris Control to ensure a smooth journey. Everything seems fine until he encounters storm clouds blocking his path. Despite the risks, he decides to fly through the storm to reach home for breakfast. Inside the clouds, he loses communication and navigation instruments, finding himself lost. In the midst of the storm, the pilot sees another aeroplane without lights flying near him. The mysterious pilot gestures for him to follow. Grateful for assistance, the pilot trails the unknown aeroplane, which guides him through the storm. After some time, the strange aeroplane descends, and the pilot follows suit. To his relief, he emerges from the clouds and sees a lit-up runway, an airport. However, when he looks for the Black Aeroplane, it has disappeared. Confused, he lands safely and learns from the control center that no other planes were in the storm that night, and his was the only one visible on radar. The pilot is left wondering who the mysterious pilot in the Black Aeroplane was, as there were no other planes around. Questions and answers from thinking about the text section of the short story. Question 1. I'll take the risk. What is the risk? Why does the narrator take it? Answer. The risk the narrator takes is flying into a storm with no clear visibility, a malfunctioning compass, and low fuel. The narrator takes the risk because they want to reach England for a family breakfast and decides to face the storm rather than turn back to Paris. Question 2. Describe the narrator's experience as he flew the aeroplane into the storm. Answer. The narrator's experience in the storm is challenging. Inside the clouds, everything turns black, and the aeroplane jumps and twists. Instruments fail, and the compass spins. The narrator becomes lost, but a mysterious black aeroplane appears, guiding them through the storm. Question 3. Why does the narrator say, "I landed and was not sorry to walk away from"? The old Dakota? Answer. The narrator is not sorry to walk away from the old Dakota because the experience of navigating through the storm was frightening. Landing safely brings relief and gratitude, overshadowing any attachment to the old aeroplane. Question 4. What made the woman in the control center look at the narrator strangely? Answer. The woman in the control center looks at the narrator strangely when they mention the other pilot and aeroplane in the storm because, according to the radar, no other planes were flying that night. The narrator's account of the mysterious pilot contradicts the radar data. Question 5. Who do you think helped the narrator to reach safely? Discuss this among yourselves and give reasons for your answer. Answer. It remains a mystery who helped the narrator reach safely. The woman at the control center denies seeing any other planes on radar. The strange black aeroplane and its pilot's disappearance leave the question unanswered, creating an intriguing element in the story. Important vocabulary from the two short stories. Ledge. A narrow horizontal shelf projecting from a wall or from a cliff. Upbraiding. Scolding. Skim. To move lightly just above a surface. Herring. A soft-finned sea fish. Preening. Making an effort to maintain feathers. Wet. Sharpen. Derisively. In a manner showing someone that he or she is stupid. Dizzy. An uncomfortable feeling of spinning around and losing one's balance. Curveting. Leaping like a horse. Banking. Flying with one wing higher than the other,